Good morning. We're going to get started. I want to just quickly introduce somebody who doesn't really need an introduction, but Jen Dobler is a colleague of mine from the Office for Students in Transition. She coordinates advisement and registration in Bulldog Welcome Week, and she is fun, and hopefully this will be very interactive and engaging. And if nothing else, she has good stories. So take it away, Jen.
Hey, hi. Okay, so my topic today is critical and creative thinking. How exciting does that sound? We're going to start with a video clip, of which I'm a big fan.
Hey, I create a game show. Two people on stage, right? They flip a coin. One of them has to perform open heart surgery. The other one has to receive open heart surgery. We call it open heart surgery.
How about this? You buy a Gulfstream G4 jet.
Aren't interested.
Take the wheels off, get them off there. Turn the jet into an apartment building. Then we live on our private jet. We're currently coming up with business ideas for John Ralphio, because as of today, his bank account is blowing up.
I made my money the old-fashioned way. I got run over by a Lexus.
I still can't believe you won all that money in the lawsuit. You barely got rid of it all.
Do you want to get run over? Because I know a guy. Super gentle. Minor scrapes and bruises. Major dollars and cents.
I got it. What are you amazing at?
I know it. We both know it. Let's just say it at the same time.
Creating spectacles. No, I got it. You create Pawnee's first and only high-end, all-media, entertainment conglomerate.
Absolutely. That's absolutely what I have to do. What does it mean?
It means audio, video, movies, 3D movies, nightclubs, iPhone apps. If it's entertainment, you're involved.
Yes, of course I am.
And you call it Entertainment 720.
No! Why? Why?
You gotta stop straight.
I don't know. I just get excited. Why do we call it Entertainment 720?
Because you're willing to go around the world twice for your clients.
That is unbelievable! Listen to me. Listen to me. I need you on my team to pull this off, alright? I can't do this without you.
I don't know, man. I can't. I have to do my job.
Okay, I'll do it without you.
Alright, so why I showed that clip are two reasons. The topic today is, maybe if I can bring it up. Hold on. Slideshow. Yeah, from the start. Check. Okay, here we go. So, in that clip, we saw two types of thinking. They were going back and forth, they're brainstorming creative business ideas, including taking the wings off a G4 jet and letting you live in it like an apartment. And when they didn't understand each other's ideas, they made clarifying questions, which means they were using critical thinking skills. I know. It's a stretch. I'm glad you're on the team with me. Here we go. Brains. No wonder zombies love human brains. Our brains are full of great capacity. If you don't know this already, there's a theory out there and or science related to it that says that the right brain is your creative side. The part of you that does nonverbal feelings. Your feelings. Okay? When you cry because you're so inspired by SSP 1000's lecture today, you'll be using your right brain. Okay? Your left side of your brain is the analysis side, the logic, the very cut and dry. This is a very helpful diagram. I prefer the Mercedes-Benz advertisement. I am the left brain. I am a scientist. I am logic. They show it very visually. So for people who use their right brains to understand, this is a better model than the one before it. Okay, so your right brain totally creative, your left brain very logical. When you're thinking through problems in college and after, okay, no one's sitting here going, you guys don't know how to critically think. That's not what we're saying. We're saying maybe nobody has taught you throughout your college career so far and your high school experience that there's a methodology to critical thinking. It's easy, it's simple, and it's actually really effective. Critical thinking has a very long and droll definition. Basically, what we want you to do when you're thinking about your college experience, critical thinking is the idea that there's an idea that your professor puts up on the screen. You read it, how do you understand it? How do you get deeper into that topic so that you can explore it and show demonstrated knowledge? All right, this bores me to tears. So we're going to go on to something extremely practical. Socrates. Does anybody know this movie or am I way old? Yes, what is it? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, yes. And at one point in time, they go back in time and the telephone would, seriously people, I know I'm a child of the 80s, but I promise you if you watch this movie, it'll change your life. Well, maybe not. All right, the point is they go back in time to find Socrates. Critical thinking has been around since the dawn of man, blah, 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 but Socrates came up with a pretty effective system of questioning. All I'm asking you to do is when you read the newspaper, when you watch the news, we want you to be able to take apart what they're saying and critically analyze it. All right? He did this with 6 types of questions. You will know these questions that I show you right away because you hear it from your professors and your teachers all along, okay? There are 6 types of questions. One is a clarification question. Well, why would you say that? How does this relate to our discussion? Are you going to include diffusion in your mole-Bowles equations? Yes, excellent. Clarification questions. So when you're sitting in class and the teacher goes, so you've made this great point. Tell me more about that. Why do you say that? That's a clarifying question. So when you watch a news anchor tell you something about what's going on in the Gaza Strip right now, I want you to say, why do you think they said that? Okay, so clarification. Probing assumptions. All right? What could we assume instead? So say you're watching election coverage, and one channel is calling for Obama and one channel is calling for Romney. And you have some idea about how the media is sort of pitching this story. You could say, well, what could we assume instead? So if Obama's winning in this channel and Romney's winning according to this channel, what can we assume? What can we assume instead of the results that are coming out and that hasn't been officially done yet? How can you verify or disprove that assumption? Your teachers are going to ask you the same thing. So you write a paper and you say things like, I am a people-oriented person. And if you sound like that, that's very awkward. How do you verify or prove that assumption? How can I say, I'm a people person? When you go to job interviews, this is a great idea. And you practice your mock interviews, ask yourself these questions about the things you've said. I'm very organized. Well, that's great. But how can you verify or disprove that, okay? So you have to show that. 2 types of questions. I've got 4 more. All right. It's a lot of probing, I apologize. Probe reasons and evidence, okay? So what would be an example? I'm a great knitter. Okay, well what would be an example of your knitting prowess? Well, I made a scarf the size of Texas. That's a lot of scarves, I know. All right, what do you think causes this to happen? What do you think caused you to be a great knitter, Jen? Well, my mother taught me this fine art and. We're probing the reasons and evidence behind that. So I can show you this scarf. I can show you these things that I have that are answering that question. Viewpoints and perspectives. So we're doing a little more, okay. While we're thinking about a topic, what would be an alternative? So when you're writing a paper and you're trying to justify in your political science class or history class, why did the U.S. use the atomic bomb in World War II? Whoa. What would have been an alternative? What is another way to look at using the atomic bomb in World War II? There are some historians that say it was to end the war quickly and decisively. Another was to say to prove America's ultimate power in the universe, etc. That question is a viewpoint and a perspective, and we want you to clarify that with those questions. 2 more, promise. Okay, here we go. We're doing, again, I apologize for all the probing, but probing implications or consequences. What generalizations can you make? All right, so let's use this class attendance today. Normally this class is a little bit more full, just a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. What generalization can we make about the people who are not here now? Are they lazy? Are they unmotivated? Did they already go home for Thanksgiving? There are a lot of generalizations we can make as evidence proves that we're missing some people from class. What would I be implying by saying, there aren't a lot of people in class today? All right, those are the questions we're looking for in probing implications and consequences. And finally, and I think the most important Socratic question out there, to question the question. So if I ask you something like, why are Ugg boots fashionable? All right, there's a perspective there, there's some assumption there, right? Like, oh, Ugg boots. But I want you to question the question. Why did she ask that question? Where is she coming from with that question? What is the tone of that question? Questioning the question always helps you sort of clarify things. Okay, here we go. I have a great example of Socratic questioning. If I can get my mouse to go where I want it to go. All right.
Take a seat. Come.
Stop. Okay.
Take a seat. Come.
What do you want to discuss now? My favorite color?
Colonel, the 6 a.m. flight was the first one off the base?
Yes.
There wasn't a flight that left 7 hours earlier and landed at Andrews.
Hurry! Sorry, I was trying to get rid of the T-Mobile. Shoot, it's gone. Exit full screen. There we go. Sorry, guys.
Substandard room.
No. Sorry. No. Sorry.
Who's being trained?
No. There we go. Hold on. Sorry, folks. I won't touch. T-Mobile will be advertising.
Come.
What do you want to discuss now? My favorite color?
Colonel, the 6 a.m. flight was the first one off the base?
Yes.
There wasn't a flight that left 7 hours earlier and landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 2 a.m.
Lieutenant, I think we've covered this, haven't we?
Your Honor, these are the Tower Chief's logs for both Guantanamo Bay and Andrews Air Force Base. Guantanamo log was no flight that left at 11 p.m. The Andrews log was no flight that landed at 2 a.m. I'd like to admit them as defense exhibits out in the world.
I don't understand. You're admitting evidence of a flight that never existed.
But we believe it did, sir. Defense will be calling Airman Cecil O'Malley and Airman Anthony Rodriguez. They were working the ground crew at Andrews at 2 a.m. on Sunday.
Your Honor, these men weren't on the list.
Rebuttal witnesses, Your Honor, called specifically to refute testimony offered under direct examination.
I'll allow the witnesses.
This is ridiculous.
Colonel, a moment ago, check the tower logs for Christ's sake. Well, we'll get to the airman in just a minute, sir. A moment ago, you said that you ordered Lieutenant Kendrick to tell his men that Santiago wasn't to be touched.
That's right.
And Lieutenant Kendrick was clear on what you wanted?
Crystal.
Any chance Lieutenant Kendrick ignored the order?
Ignored the order?
Any chance he forgot about it?
No.
Any chance Lieutenant Kendrick left your office and said, the old man is wrong?
No.
When Lieutenant Kendrick spoke to the platoon and ordered them not to touch Santiago, any chance they ignored him?
You ever served in an infantry unit, son?
No, sir.
Ever served in a forward area?
No, sir.
Ever put your life in another man's hands? Asked him to put his life in yours?
No, sir.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal. Colonel, I have just one more question before I call Airman O'Malley and Airman Rodriguez. If you gave an order that Santiago wasn't to be touched, and your orders are always followed, then why would Santiago be in danger? Why would it be necessary to transfer him off the base?
Okay, so, do we know this movie, by the way? Okay, again, generationally I worry because I only had like 4 people who knew Bill and Ted. It's a few good men. So, while he's going through that process, yes, Socratic questioning clearly came into play on both ends. There's a couple times when Colonel Jessup was asking Tom Cruise's character questions back, you know, have you ever put your life in another man's hands? Like, that's a clarifying question, okay? So in this movie clip and in real life, when you're looking to get to the answer, and you probably get to the answer, you'll see that they keep going through this questioning, okay? So we're going to finish some of this clip here.
Santiago was a substandard Marine. He was being transferred.
Not what you said. You said he was being transferred because he was in grave danger.
That's correct.
You said he was in danger. I said grave danger. You said this.
I recall what I
I can
said.
have the court reporter read back to you.
I know what I said. I don't have to have it read back to me like I'm...
Why did you orders? Colonel?
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
Listen, you immediately just want to know that your men never take matters in their own hands. Your men follow orders and people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger at all, should he, Colonel?
You snotty little bastard.
You're all right like that.
Well, okay, there we go. So, the idea behind this clip is to show you the consistent, clarifying questions that he used. We could go through, and if you really were really excited about Socratic questioning, you could go through that movie clip, that whole 7 minutes, and you could categorize each question that they ask into the 6 questions, because they fit. That's something, oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about what we're looking for from you? And this is just your basic introduction to critical thinking. I have no doubt that no one's got any questions whatsoever. Okay, great. Let's move on quickly to creative thinking, which is a topic in which I think most students struggle with for 2 reasons. One is I think a lot of students think you have to be naturally creative to be able to do creative thinking. Not true, okay? And 2, I think students struggle with it because they've been exposed to only a certain paradigm of ideas, okay? So if you've come from Schnecksville, Pennsylvania, like me, anyone? No, okay. So I grew up in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania. It's a very small town. It's me, my mom, and some sheep. And my brother. That's creepy. Okay, point is, rural town, small, Pennsylvania. I did not exactly have a diverse growing up experience. So I didn't have a lot of opportunities to sort of stretch my creative thinking. There are a couple ways you can look at creative thinking would be one. You know that moment when it all comes together, okay? Like an aha moment, like a light bulb. People can think of creative thinking as that moment you get the light bulb, or the process-oriented way of immersing yourself into a creative thinking environment, okay? So let's talk about the moment of the light bulb, also known as a moment of insight. This is your time to interact with this PowerPoint. I know life is so full of great. Okay, one of the ways that they've done brain research, and we'll watch a quick clip about that in a second, is the moment you know, in your heart, it's an aha moment. Feels like this, okay? We're going to do a remote associative word problem. I'm going to give you 3 words. There's a combination of those words that uses one word to connect all 3. And so we'll do this one first. Gold, stool, tender. What word relates to all 3? Think? It's not golden stool that's tender. That'd be weird. It's gold, the word stool, and the word tender. What word might relate to all 3? Money. Did I hear monkey?
Money.
Money. Close. Here we go. Have this aha moment with me. It's bar. Okay? Bar of gold, bar stool, bar tender. Now you know what we're looking for, okay? Here's the next one. Now, deeply immerse yourself into the thinking. Oh, I hope this goes up right. Yeah. Nope. There we go. Water. Tobacco. Stove. Oh, boo. I copied and pasted. So, tobacco. No. Water, tobacco, stove. What word relates to all three? Pipe. Aha moment right there. Okay, and one more. Barrel, root, belly. Beer. I knew that would be easy for you to get. Yes. Okay, great. It's beer. All right, we're going to quickly talk with Jonah Lehrer. We're going to watch this clip, if it all goes well.
In order to understand why you're more likely to have a moment of insight, one of these aha moments, a shattering epiphany in a bathtub or a warm shower or walking in a beautiful park, you really have to understand what's happening inside the brain when you have an aha moment. I think one of the best pieces of evidence in terms of understanding that process, that mental process, comes from the work of a guy named Mark Beeman at Northwestern, John Kunios at Drexel. And they got interested in moments of insight for all sorts of reasons, just because it is this very mysterious mental moment. You know, the two defining features of aha moments for a psychologist are one, that the answer pops into your head out of the blue. You know, you may not even be thinking about the problem, but then you're just in the shower washing your hair, and then boom, the answer arrives. Just, it's there. The second defining feature of moments of insight is that as soon as the answer pops into your head, you know it's right. You don't have to double check it. You don't have to check the arithmetic, run the numbers. You know this is the answer I've been searching for. So those are two defining features of moments of insight, both of which are kind of mysterious and crazy, that our brain is simmering on this problem the whole time, and then we're just washing our hair, and there's the answer. So, you know, obviously this kind of presents a technical problem. You can't just put people in a brain scanner and say, okay, have an aha moment, have an epiphany. That'd be a really inefficient way to use brain scanner time, which is pretty expensive. So what they end up coming up with is a series of word problems called compound remote associate problems, or CRAP. Yeah, it's an unfortunate acronym. But the problems go like this. So I'm going to give you 3 words. You have to find a 4th word that can form a compound word with these 3. So the 3 words are pine, crab, and sauce. I'll cut to the chase. The 4th word is apple. So that's the compound remote associate word. The answer tends to arrive in one of these aha moments. So what they found is you just put people in these brain scanners, these claustrophobic, noisy tubes, give them lots of word problems, and then see what was happening inside the brain when they had these moments of insight. And what they found is that a part of the brain is this obscure circuit of cells called the superior anterior temporal gyrus in the right hemisphere. It's very active right before we have insight. It's the brain area nobody knows too much about. It's associated with when you tell people the punchline of a joke lights up. It's also involved in generation of metaphors. So these are both mental skills which they involve the detection of remote associations. You've probably never used pine, crab, and sauce in a sentence before, right? It's not 3 words that go together a lot. But this brain area, what seems to excel at is finding the little thread, the thread of apple that connects pine, crab, and sauce. And so that's its special, unique skills. It finds those that are called remote associations. So that was interesting, but they still wanted to learn more. So they also hooked people up to an EEG machine, which is like a bulky shower cap. And what they found is that right before people have a moment of insight, they tend to get this very predictive signal coming from the EEG. And you could find the signal up to 8 seconds before people actually had the aha moment. And the predictive signal was the presence of alpha waves. You know, like most things in the mind, alpha waves are, I think, still pretty mysterious, but they're very closely associated with states of relaxation. So it's when you're taking a warm shower, when you're in the bathtub, when you're walking in a beautiful park, when you're doing something you love to do, be it lying on your couch and daydreaming, or staring out a window while taking the train. All those mental moments are actually very closely associated with alpha waves. But the question is, why are alpha waves so predictive of these moments of insight? And what these scientists argue is that when we're focused on the outside world, when we're really paying attention to something going on out there, be it the problem or watching something on the street or just absorbing the television, that's where our consciousness is. We're paying attention to the outside world. But when we're a little bit bored and a lot relaxed, when we're taking a warm shower, we turn the spotlight of attention inwards. That makes us much more likely to hear this obscure circuit of cells saying, The answer is apple. The answer is apple. So that's actually makes it possible to even get the insight in the first place. I think the counterintuitive aspect of this research is that most people assume when you get a really hard problem, a really hard technical problem, or any kind of problem that seems impossible, what we have to do is to, drink another espresso, pop some Ritalin, do whatever it is we need to do to really focus on the problem. But that's actually probably the worst thing we can do, because then we'll just get the wrong answer on loop in our head like a broken record. Instead, what we should do is, take a warm shower, play some ping pong, a la the Google offices, take a walk in the park, do anything to distract ourselves from the big problem we're trying to solve. Because when we're not trying to solve it, that the answer will actually pop into our head.
So, great. Every time you have a hard test, in the middle of your test, I need you to leave the test and go take a warm shower. That's not entirely practical, is it? So there are some other methodologies besides this aha moment. You're taking a test and it's like that moment when you're sitting at that question, you're going, I knew this yesterday. Surely this is not an uncommon experience. I just took a test in microecon and that was my experience. I knew this yesterday. How could I not possibly know this in time for the test? The idea of moments of insight as creative thinking is great. And when you're problem solving, if you're an engineering student, take a break from what you're working on. If you're an English major and you're in the middle of writing a paper about Shakespeare and you're just like, I have no theme. Just leave your work if you can, great. If you want to take a warm shower. I love how many times he brings up warm showers. I'm like, I don't know, that's fine. So find a way, walk, get away from the situation if you can. That helps in having an aha moment to put things together. But when it comes to creative thinking, we can't always find ourselves in that situation. I think people look at creative thinking in two ways. One, there is a discrete answer. The Rubik's Cube is solved when all the colors are on their own sides of the cube, okay? It takes creative thought to get the answer to a Rubik's Cube, right? I mean, you have to sit there and go, how would I do this? What's the structure? How do I make this work? Trial and error. Or you come up with something new, an invention. So you'll get this fabulous glue stick shaped butter. All right, what a great idea. It's amazing to me how many inventions came through aha moments. But at the same time, many inventions also came about through the creative problem-solving process. So if you look at a creative solution as either a puzzle or an invention, you kind of wrap around all the things that you're going to work on in college in two ways. One, your test or paper has a specific answer, or two, they're asking you to synthesize something brand new. Okay, Alex Osborne's method. So, in 1893, this company was formed in New York as sort of the first advertising agency in New York City, or one of the first, which sole focus was to come up with creative ways to sell products. And over time, in 1928, Alex Osborne joined the company. In 1953, he finally published this book. What does this have to do with you? First, I want to mention that if any time you're watching Mad Men and they talk about BBDO, that's the guy, the major competitor, the big player on Madison Ave, is the guy that came up with this creative problem-solving process. Okay. If we look at it, it's got 3 stages. Pretty simple. There's fact finding, idea finding, and solution finding. Okay. Basically, you find a problem. I'm trying to target college students, or I'm trying to make sure that college students buy, what is this you guys buy a lot of? Oh God. We'll use beer. All right, let's assume we want to market to college students and we want them to buy a lot of, no, let's use high-end vodka because that's going to be harder to sell. All right, so our problem definition is high-end vodka is very expensive. And college students are inherently spending their money on their academic experience. All right? We need to gather and analyze pertinent data. How much of the population of the student body drinks vodka and wants top shelf vodka. High shelf vodka. I don't want to know what that is. You put out the problem, you get to this point, and then you're like, okay, we've identified all these issues using, and I dare say, the Socratic method of questioning. And then you've got to start producing ideas. And this is the point when we talk about brainstorming, where you don't criticize anything that comes out. You're like, all right, here we go. We're gonna practice. Say I'm trying to sell, oh God, this is on camera. Say I'm trying to sell you top shelf vodka. Great. What would make you buy it? Why would you want it? What was that? No? No idea about how to sell it? High alcohol content. Great. Smoother. What was that?
Snazzy bottle.
Snazzy. Would that work if I put it in like a
Glass bottle instead of
nice bottle instead of plastic? Great. So here we go. We've come up with some ideas. We need to develop those ideas into fruition. So maybe one would be this. I would make it look really swanky in a glass bottle that has a glow stick in it. Sounds right. And then I would evaluate it, and then if it worked, we'd adopt it. Okay? This creative problem-solving process is the problem-solving process. If you look through all the research, this is the one that most are founded on, because it's the first that ever came out in a book. Okay? That's great. There is one critique about this process. Oh, okay. Which is there's no feedback loop. So we just came up with a million great ideas. I'm putting a glow stick inside a really swanky bottle and advertising it as smooth, okay? But at no point in time do I go from evaluation back up to fact-finding. So at this point in this process, there's no feedback loop. That's the one critique, okay? This is Alex Osborne's method. If you use this method when you're working on a paper or a project, pretty much is the way that most people look at creative thinking today. Case in point. No. Why do you do this to me every time? There you go. I'm sorry, before we hit this clip, do you guys know the story of Apollo 13? They were supposed to land on the moon. They didn't, because they couldn't, so things went wrong, and now they're trying to get them back to Earth. It's like a really interesting sci-fi movie that they have.
Okay, people, listen up. I want you all to forget the flight plan. With this going on, we are improvising a new mission. Well, sorry. How do we get our people home? They are here. You turn them around, straight back, direct the board.
We get them on a free return trajectory. It's the option with the fewest question marks per second.
I agree with Jerry. Use the moon's gravity slingshot them around.
No, the lab will not support 3 guys for that amount of time. I mean, we've got to do a directive work. We do an about face, we bring the guys right home right now.
Get them back soon, absolutely.
We don't even know if the Odyssey's engines even work, and if there's been serious damage to this spacecraft.
They blow up and they die.
That is not we're talking about time, not whether or not these guys will work.
Let's hold it down. Let's hold it down, people. The only engine we've got with enough power for direct board is the SPS on the service module. What Loveless told us could have been damaged in an explosion, so let's consider that engine dead. We light that thing up to blow the whole works. Just too risky. We're not going to take that chance. The only thing the command module is good for is re-entry, so that leaves us with dilemma, which means free return trajectory. Once we get the guys around the moon, we'll fire up the LEM engine, make a long burn, pick up some speed, get them home as quick as we can.
Gene, I'm wondering what the ground guys think about this.
We can't make any guarantees. We designed the LEM to land on the moon, not fire the engine out there for course correction.
Well, unfortunately, we're not landing on the moon, huh? I don't care what anything was designed to do. I care about what it can do.
So let's get to work, let's lay it out.
Planning says it'll be ready in time.
After this burn, we've got to build some time in the flight plan and commit to get to sleep.
All right, so the idea behind that is in a real life practical situation which had lives on the line, it was a crazy time, a bunch of guys smoking in a room in ties going, okay, so this spaceship is not coming back to Earth the way that we expected it to, how can we still make it happen? If you watch that movie, you will be, it identifies the creative problem-solving process that Alex Osborne came up with. Exactly. They go through each piece and come up with a different way to evaluate it. It's perfect. When you're looking at brainstorming as a technique, you want to make sure that when you're thinking about creative problem-solving, as Alex Osborne identified, brainstorming is one of the things that you'll hear the most about, okay? So we've got two other things to showcase on that. Or not. There we go.
I'm Gina Trapani, and this is Work Smart. In this episode, we're covering brainstorming techniques to boost creativity. Coming up with good ideas is an important part of your job, so you want to have the right tools to brainstorm productively. Here are some tools and techniques for generating as many new ideas as possible when you need them. When you need to do free-form thinking around a central topic, try a mind map. Write down your concept in the middle of the page, and all around it, jot down related ideas and concepts and tasks and images. Connect those ideas by drawing lines, and branch off similar ideas as well. The most effective offline tool for making a mind map is the old classic: giant whiteboard, wet marker, and a dry eraser. To create a mind map online, check out mindmeister.com, which is a free web app that lets you create, share, and publish mind maps. Sometimes all you need to do is jot a bulleted list of your ideas as they come to you. The most low-tech tool for doing that is lined paper and a good pen. But if you want to be able to rearrange your lists, you want a good outliner program. Microsoft Word's outline view makes making lists and sublists very easy. In Microsoft Word, press Ctrl-Alt-O to switch into outline mode. When you can help it, don't brainstorm alone. Get as many people in on your brainstorming session as possible to generate as many ideas as possible. Allow bad ideas to come out and stand without judgment to create the possibility that they'll spur on better alternatives. When you're brainstorming, give yourself plenty of writing space and good utensils. Get everything out of your head and onto the page to make room for new insights. When you can, get out of your regular workspace. Go to the conference room with a great view, or go outside or to the coffee shop to get your creative juices flowing. If you can, choose a wide open space with high ceilings or vaulted ceilings. If generating ideas is a regular part of your job, make sure that you have tools that you love on hand all the time. Splurge on that fancy notebook or that great pen and carry it with you everywhere, on the train and to the dentist, and write things down as soon as they occur to you. This habit alone is key to capturing your best, most essential creative insights.
The reason I like that is it showcases a handful of really practical ways to use brainstorming tools, one of which is Microsoft Word's outline, which we're not going to go over today, but I do agree with that statement. There's also great things like OmniGraffle and OmniGraph on a Mac that you can use. All right, we're going to practice a mind map really quickly so we can get through the rest of the presentation. We are going to cover low attendance at UMD Bulldog hockey games. I have terrible handwriting today, I'm sorry. Okay, if there's low attendance, why might there be low attendance? Team sucks. I'm going to put team does not perform. All right, what else? Is there anything about the team not performing, i.e. team sucking, that you would want to discuss, or do you want to try something else? Go ahead.
People may have less money to spend on tickets.
Less money for tickets. Great. Other ideas about why there might be low attendance at Bulldog hockey? The venue. Excellent. One more. Go ahead.
The games are televised, so you can watch your hands.
Yep, games are on TV. Great. Let's address less money for tickets. How can we, what are some ideas that would help people either afford tickets or afford to go to the game? Go ahead.
Discounts.
Discounts, great. I heard charge less, great. Anything else? Okay. As we keep going, you'll see that, say, discounts. We'd have senior citizens, we could have students, we could have Boy Scout Day, we could have coupons, could be frequent attendance discount, buy 6 tickets, get the last one free. That is how a mind map works. It's simple, it's easy, you can do it by yourself, you can do it with your friends. Yeah, I know, I heard that. All right, here we go. From slide. All right, I'm going to run out of time, so we're not going to do. Basically, when we're looking at critiquing of brainstorming methods, the guy that talked about the aha moment says that it's not as effective as if you do the creative problem-solving process all by yourself. Here we go. This is extremely important. A race of highly advanced alien beings wanted to know the answer to life in the universe and everything, so they built a gigantic computer which spent millions of years figuring out the answer. When the ancestors of the original builders found out the answer to life, the universe, and everything was 42, they were simultaneously ecstatic, despondent, and confused. They were ecstatic because they finally knew the answer. They were despondent because they didn't know what the answer meant. They were confused as to what to do next with the information that they had. All right, has anybody read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Good choice, good choice. All right, the idea is 42. What does that mean? What does this mean? Go ahead.
How many roads Batman travel?
Yes. How many roads Batman travel, etc. There's a lot of information that we're missing here, right? What are the lessons that we learn about the creative problem-solving process that they went through? Knowing the correct question was as important as knowing the answer, okay? So these alien beings found out the answer to life and everything, but they never understood what the question was really asking. And questions provide crucial context. So again, creative thinking is coupled with critical thinking, and it's very important that you know that. I'm going to skip Best Buy. All right, we'll talk real quick about ways to stretch your creative thinking. There's a handful of ways. If you are not one of those people that just sits down and goes, oh, today I'm going to think creatively, and then magically do, right? You can do something called the Creative Whack Pack. It's a 52-card set, and I was going to bring it here and demonstrate it, but it has not arrived in the mail yet. Thank you, Amazon. In this packet, it's going to say, like, describe what cheese tastes like. Well, how is that helpful? Say you're working on a project that you need to be able to use all the senses. This can help you start to brainstorm ways to come up with how to describe things. What does cheese smell like? Sometimes it smells like feet. Maybe that's just weird cheese, or bad cheese. But, it smells like, what does cheese smell like? Cheese smells like cheese. That's good. Good. All right. Then we have the superheroes game. Does anybody know this game? I got you for 4 more minutes. So just calm down, because I'm just going to finish 4 more bullet points. I promise. Superheroes game. Anybody know it? Have a bunch of people come over for a meeting. So say you're working on a group project. Who loves group projects? Everybody. I know, because you learn skills on how to deal with that. So superheroes game is really easy. Everybody gets a superhero. So I'm Batman, Danny's going to be Spider-Man, someone's going to be Wolverine. You can even go as far as cartoon characters. And when you're sitting around, you come up with ideas that come from that person's perspective. So like Batman probably has some issues with parents. So if we're talking about students, Batman's going to be like, but what about students who don't have a heavy parental influence, okay? That's the superheroes game. I can't even tell tell you how easy it is to do in a group project. People like it, and it gives you a good perspective. Okay, the journalism standards. Who knows the 5 W's?
Who, what, when.
Yep, and there's how. I know, right? You're like 5 W's and an H. When desperate, and you're sitting there going, I have a paper due tomorrow on waiting for Godot, which I struggled with. Anyway, waiting for Godot. Come up with the 5 W's of the questions that you're trying to answer. Why were they waiting for Godot? What was the theater of the absurd trying to say through this sort of experience, etc. Stories with holes, we're not going to have time to practice. But I'll give you an example. When you need that creative influx, here's one way to do it. Story with holes. Philip can eat pears, cream, carrots, bread, and spinach, but not apples, pizza, peas, soup, or fish. Why? He has strange dietary needs. Acceptable. Any thoughts? All right, I'll give you the answer because we're almost out of time. Philip can only eat foods of more than 3 letters and with at least 3-letter words in them. So pea in pears, ream in cream, carrots, bread, spinach. Understand? So when you need to start making your brain think about things, doing puzzles and stuff is very easy to do. So we talked about remote association words. Here's another story with holes. Tom was observed looking into windows time after time. No one reported him to the police, and even then the police did see him. They ignored him. How could Tom get away with this? Thoughts? Tom's a window? Is that what I heard? Good, I dig that. The answer is Tom was a cat. That's good. One guy's awake. That worked out well. All right. So sorry for the use of a meme. I couldn't not do it. I love Science Cat. The idea is that when you need to be creative, you need to inspire yourself. And then as you leave, I'm going to throw up this last one. Oh no. Why must you do this to me? Here we go. When you're thinking about being creative, I want you to think about, you all know the Old Spice commercials, right? Great. When you're thinking about being creative, I want you to remember that there's always some behind-the-scenes work that needs to happen.
Ready, and action. Hello, ladies. Where can you go when your man smells like me? Close your eyes, I'll show you. Do you see the sand between your toes? I surprise one another. Like little sweet shot of love. Fireworks on turn our world upside down. I hope that what see is what you are. See, your man's
So creative and